Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for making time and speaking with us. That's exactly my first question to you.
Yeah.
With the overall increase when it comes to the potential for the paper industry in India, how do you see yourself gaining market share and what could be the triggers going forward?
So there's a huge tailwind happening for the paper industry in the form of the national education policy, plus uh, the single-use plastic ban that has come in. So those are the two big ticket items which is going to cause a huge potential growth for paper going forward. Paper is correctly placed and poised for taking on the replacement for plastic being a biodegradable item. And with education sector going forward and the huge outlay by the government spend on education going forward, that there are huge tailwinds which are going to support the growth of paper in future.
Right. Sir, could you just talk to us about the backward integration that the company has done? What does it mean? And what will be the moat of the company? Basically, how do you manage your clients? Because it's a very commoditized sort of a business.
Sure. So we took a backward integration project way back in 2018, where we put up primarily three items: a new wood pulp mill, a chemical recovery, and a captive power. All that was set to put in place in 2020 when the COVID came in and came in for a setback for about 2 years. But now the investment is all showing desired results. It is come in at the right opportune time with the paper industry growing, showing strong growth trends. So we've been able to bring down our costs of production quite dramatically, and we've been able to increase our EBITDA margins also quite substantially. Now, being a commodity product, we started branding our product way back in the early 2000, amongst the first to do so. And wherein in most cases where companies use their company name to sell their product, we use our brand names for the different qualities that we make. And our product is sold by our individual brand names of the paper differential qualities that we make. And also that we are a market oriented organization and we've got our dealer network spread right across the landscape of the country, north, south, east, west, all around. And we sell through our dealer network, and that's how we gain a good traction in the market. And with this backward integration, we've been able to also debottleneck about 25% of our capacity that has been enhanced. And we are sort of optimizing and operating at full capacity, increased capacity today for the last over almost 6 months now.
Right. Sir, can you just talk to us about the debt on the books of the company and with the sort of cash flow that you're getting because of this generation? How
Yeah.
would you tend to make your balance sheet stronger for further market share gains?
So this backward integration project, which was about 450 crores, was largely funded by debt from banks. And as of now, the debt on the book stands at about 600 crores. And I don't see that as a position of discomfort at all, because this year alone, I'm hoping to generate about 250 crores of cash. And we will be very, very comfortably repaying our debts. In fact, we could be looking at even repaying or prepaying our debts a little bit in the current year, because the going is so good for the paper industry at the moment.
Paper
Sure,
price.
that point is taken that the debt is around 600 crores and you're looking to pare it down, but also wanted to understand the EBITDA margin profile because I see that in the quarter gone by, you achieved a margin rate of 22% and the expectation is that it can go up to 28 to 30%. What's the timeline should we expect for that?
Well, by the year end, it should clearly inch up towards our target of 28 to 30%. And even the current operations, the current market scenario is all showing just that trend. I mean, the pricing today is almost in a gravity defying resilience. It's showing an upward trend, which is uh, quite endearing.
Right. So also just one last question regarding the prices of paper that we've seen, the demand that we have seen. Where do you tend to see this coming in? Do you expect that the demand that has researched after everything has started, will it continue? How will supply come in? And how will demand overseed supply so that prices remain where they are?
So there have been no big ticket investment in capacity enhancement in the country per se. And so the price increase is largely emanating because the demand is really showing a strong trend, and the supply side has remained largely constant. Though I feel that the imports could increase in the near future with China entering into the fray. They've been largely out of the ambit because of their own COVID situation, but I think operations and factories are coming back into operation there. We could see an import of paper happening there, which could somehow uh, only balance out the prices. I don't see a dramatic shift in pricing going forward, and it's going to be here to stay because of these primarily two things which I stated. One is the single-use plastic, which is there, an opportunity for the paper industry, plus the national education policy, which is going to be tabled, which is every government official is talking about it, and I'm sure that is going to provide the right platform for the increase in demand for paper in this sector.
Just a last word as far as the company is concerned. In the last 2 to 3 years, when there have been so many ups and downs, how are you preparing, and which sectors within paper do you believe will see growth? Whether it's tissues, will you be investing over there? Whether it's packaging paper, whether it's printing paper, which are the segments within papers where you see growth?
So I see largely a good growth for primarily all these sectors that you mentioned, which is tissue, packaging, and writing and printing, though the degrees may change a bit. Tissue certainly has gotten the fancy with hygienic demands and hygienic awareness coming because of COVID. And we are also planning to invest in a tissue machine going forward. In fact, the entire infrastructure for that has already been put in place by way of the pulp requirement and the power requirement. And all that is required is to put in place a new tissue machine. So that plan is already on, and we should clearly see the setting up very soon. Packaging is on a high because the demand from the e-commerce sector and packaging sector is on a roll right now. And plus, the education sector is bringing on the demand for the writing and printing paper as well. Newsprint is somewhat which may be lagging behind because of the digitization and people largely wanting to see their news over the digital format rather than the print format. Though there is a mix of both, but I see that the degree growth for newsprint would be the lowest, and the other segments which would grow at a larger pace of between 6 to 8%, and tissue may be at 10 to 12% going forward.
Okay, Pavan, we'll let you go on that note. Thank you so much for joining us and talking to you about the growth outlook of the company and the industry going forward. Moving on.